everybody, welcome back. It's Maddie, and welcome to my channel if you are new. So, there's been lots of changes since I last filmed or live streamed. So, basically, let me give everyone the rundown here. I've been designing, for quite some time, but designing hasn't really been the only thing that I've done. As a lot of you know, I run my own group on the side, and then I also worked at a couple of some bigger groups. And within the last couple months, I was really hoping to get started on my YouTube channel and really start uploading more. However, I wasn't able to due to a lot of things that were going on Discord and other things on Roblox. So I kind of ended up having to get rid of all my commissions and that kind of thing. Which actually happens a lot more than it probably should, which is totally fine. If you are a beginning designer and you ever feel the need to just get a break and you you have a lot of commissions that you need to do, just make sure that you're canceling commissions earlier rather than later for people, because it's better to do it that way so you don't have to worry about not giving people anything or whatever. That is enough talking, though, so let's get into what we're doing. Alright, so basically I have this image pulled up here, which was sent in by one of my fellow designers and students for my clothing group. If you haven't signed up for my classes that I do on Discord you get some extra stuff soon to come. It's fairly new, so there isn't a lot going on right now, but there is some stuff that'll be going out there. So if you want to sign up for classes, feel free to DM me on Discord. I will be putting my Discord in the description of the video. So one of my students sent in this image here and said you should do a live stream on it. Well, I also wanted to address line art type things because apparently my line art is actually really good and I didn't realize it. So I want to address that and kind of do a little tutorial thing on how I do my line art. I'm currently on paint.net. If you are using paint.net, it's going to be a little bit easier to transfer the stuff that I say and just go right into it and be able to do it. If you're using another program, that is absolutely fine. You can always use different programs if you're more comfortable with them. Some programs allow you to do other things while others don't. But if you still want to keep watching my video and tutorial, just know that you're going to have to transfer stuff over to your personal program. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make it true to color. So what I do is I like to just pick the color that I'm going to do. But I'm going to grab it right from here. And then we're just going to get a fairly decent sized circle. And we're going to make our color palette. I do it in the top corner. I actually used to do it down here. I just found it a lot easier to do it up here, but I would do it down here for the sake of this video. So actually, this is a fairly easier concept as far as line art goes. I'm not really sure if that makes sense, but this concept is just easier rather than... I find the way that I do line art easier than everyone... Let me rephrase. I find the way that I do line art easier and more efficient than everyone else's, because I know a lot of people tend to struggle with their line art, and that's the biggest thing that people have to get started in, when I personally just don't really struggle with it because I know how I do my line art. So, what I do. For designs such as uniforms, you're not going to want lines such as... One moment. Alright, so here's a good example. So if you're doing line art for a uniform, the lines are going to tend to be less where you're going to have to define them because they're not going to be the same colors that are overlapping. So if you want to do this, you're going to need to physically do a darker color line. However, which you can see how I did it in this one, which is really good, I guess. I actually don't design like this anymore because I didn't like the style. That being said, so like as you can see here, like they don't have like a white on top of a white trying to make a different shape, so it just makes it a little bit easier when it comes to beginner line art type things. So for that, you're either going to want to use one brush width within your line/curve tool. Your line/curve tool isn't going to have a hardness like factor, but your paintbrush is. So for example, more than likely your line art tool is going to be about a 75. Now, if you're going to use a paintbrush tool, it's going to look like this. But if you use line art tool or the line tool, you can make it look nice and smooth like this. So here's the difference. Here's scribbles with my fingers, or not my finger, my mouse, and then here's a line that I drew. So that should help understand that a little bit more. If you have a steady hand, you're welcome to use the brush tool. This is just how I do my line art. So I go brush or line and curve tool on a separate layer from my colors, and I'm going to set it to, dependent on what I'm working on, I never set it to 1 ever unless I'm doing this style. Then I set it to 1. More than likely I'm going to set it to about a 2 or a 3. So for this, I'm going to zoom in so I can see the design a little bit more. Even though it gets blurrier, it makes it easier for me to see the design. So I can tell, oh hey, I'm going to need a little gap right here between this, like there's like a little hole there. And I'm going to need the pink to be small, but then get bigger. So here's what I do. Keeping in mind with my experience, I've been doing it for quite some time. So if you don't get this right away, you don't need to stress about it. I'm sure, 100% sure that you would get it eventually and be able to get the concept down. So right now I'm going to add in the bottom line going across, and that kind of cuts in like an X and then curves over, making sure again that I'm going to leave enough room for that cool little thing here, which means that I can move this down a little bit. So I have this. I'm also going to do, remember it gets bigger down here, so you want to make sure that you address that and make it look like it does get bigger, like so. Now, for the case that you have, you can see how in here it's not necessarily transparent completely, but this is. So I just take the pencil tool and fill it in, and it makes it look so much better. So from here, I'm going to, I prefer just to do straight lines across because see how the arm area on the top isn't as detailed, it's just straight line, and that's when I take it to a 1. Same up here, because it will overall look a lot cleaner, except for the top one, I'm going to make it a 2 because I'm going to curve it down slightly, and if you do it on a 1, it just looks odd. You can also do it on 3. 3, honestly, I think will work best for my specific purpose. Yes, it will. I'm gonna move it this way, and then you're just gonna take your selection tool, which should auto come up, copy and paste over, like so, so that it's even. And then I like to cut off anything that I'm not using because it helps my brain function that. Now from here, I'm going to take a pencil. I'm going to cut that across. Then I take the fill bucket and I press inside this. Hold on, you want to make sure that everything's closed first and close it off, and then I take a paint bucket and go inside. Now, as you can see, it didn't fill in completely, and that's because I had this side open. So what do I want to do? I want to close off this side. And that's just a form of like a many possible errors you can make. Do this, and then I'm going to increase this. I like to increase it as high up as it can go, because specifically on paint.net, it's not going to smear over, is what I like to call it, so it's not going to go outside of the edges, which is super sweet. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do for that specifically. I'm going to break you through some more stuff. I'm just going to fast forward this part here where I'm kind of... No, I'm not going to fast forward it. Alright, so from here I want to take a line through here. Because I know it goes up and around the neck, and because I know it is thick, I'm going to make it at least a 5. Now, sometimes what I just did will happen, but that's not a bad thing, necessarily. I'm going to make it slightly thicker, like so. Then once again, copy and paste it to the other side. Now, you don't have to, you can literally, you can make one side of your design, and then from there, copy and paste it over. However, I just like to copy and paste as I go. So, that's why that happens. Now, on this specific image, you can't see the back. So, I'm just going to infer and make a nice design on the back that I think would look nice. I always make these sides here pretty much very easy and simple to deal with because of how I design. So like that is just going to be like that, and then on the back side, I'm actually going to, not like that, let me lower this. On the back, I'm actually going to make the strip come down like so, and make it almost droop in, not dip. And then have this come here, do the same kind of thing. Like so, and then again, I'm just gonna fill it in, take it down as far as it will go, which in this case is 64, and then fill in anything that doesn't get filled in. Like so. Looks kind of snazzy. So again, just gonna copy and paste it over for visual reference. And what I want to do is I'm going to fast forward the rest of the purple section that I do, and then I will be back once I do the white lining. Alright, so here is the dealio. There are some minor things that can't be done, such as these sleeves or this, because white is the supporting color for it. So I want to make sure I have the white set where it comes down far enough before I really put anything else in, if you know what I mean. For example, like for the skirt, to do the little pink or the the little purple part on the side, it would just look kind of weird, I guess. So yeah, this is what I have right now for my purple line art. What I'm going to do for the white, we're going to add another layer. We're going to take that layer and move it down underneath your purple layer. If you haven't already done that, do that now. So white line art. It's underneath. So if I drag through this, I can't see it. But if I drag out, I can see it just fine. So what I'm going to do, so I know that I have to have this little like divot thing here. So I'm pulling across, and then I'm going to lower these just slightly. But also bring them up. Like so. So that hole is there. And then I'm just going to copy and paste over so that it looks good. So from here, I have that. I'm going to add in, take this, I'm going to line all the way through here. Actually, incorrect. I'm going to go back into the purple because I had a design for the back that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a triangle open back is what I call it. So that the back is open from a triangle. I'll set that brush size to 3, and then I'm just going to copy and paste over so that it's perfectly even. Like that. And then from there I can add in some other cool things with the white. So we're going to go back to the white. What I do also, here's another thing, rather than just doing lines, I take it and I line it with the brush tool because I have a sturdy enough hand to do so. And then when you get into bigger areas, you can increase the brush tool size so that it covers everything. Like that. You can bring it up through here, like that. You just want to make sure that there are no gaps in the design. My biggest tip also for white is to do an off-colored white so that it's not constantly like seeping through, I guess, or like when you go to shade it, it's not as intense, where it's not just like black, where you can also add white on top of it. So yeah, that's what I do. I'm going to cut this out. Now, for sleeves. Sleeves can make and break in a design. So I bring my sleeves down to about here-ish. It's not anything specific, it's just that's where I tend to take them, and I just fill it in. And that fills in the sleeves. And then for the skirt, I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, where I'm going to go down as far as I think I need to, go all the way across. I'm going to bring it 2 past, move it over 1. Grab, arrow key down twice, 1, 2. Same on the other side, arrow key down twice, 1, 2. That makes it even. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to Control C, Control V, which is copy and paste. If you want to use buttons up here instead, and then just drag it over. From here, I'm going to do the same thing on the sides at the same exact length, down, 1, 2, 1, 2. My other option, which I actually tend to use because it's a little bit cleaner to work with, is I will leave it as a straight line like that. And then do the same technique for the back of the skirt as I did the front, which is 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, those are going to automatically be even at this point. So, I'm going to grab here and here. See, that doesn't come out of the top up here. It's just on the bottom. And you can take it down as far as you wish, and it should still be able to cover it if you do it correctly. You just fill it in. It's really that simple, I promise. Granted, I have been doing it for a little bit longer, but right now it looks white and purple. Or not white, gray and purple. So right now it looks gray and purple. From here, what you do is generally up to you. You can shade, you can add glitter. What you do at this point is generally up to you. You can shade, you can add glitter, you can put in some more line art, You can do whatever you want. I personally am going to stay true to the reference and add some glitter, finish up some line art. I'm not going to do the stars on the side, and I will tell you why when I get to that point. So I am going to show you how to layer stuff on like this to make that. So let me do that real quick. So first step, I want to add a cross back here at a size of 3. It's a really good size to work with. However, because of the way the design is functioning, I'm going to work with a size 2, and I can get some more intricate type things. And just like a nice, almost looks tied back. And from here, I'm going to copy 1/2, copy, and I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to paste. This will provide that half. So you have that half. From here, you can merge back down and you can copy and paste back over. And that'll give you that nice crisscrossed look, like so. You can't really see it as much because of the color of my background, but just know that that's kind of what you're looking for. So into the purple. Have my purple selected on the purple layer. So from here, because I don't want to have to constantly copy and paste over, I'm going to save myself some time, and I'm just going to purple. And you don't, it really just depends on your reference, but generally speaking, I don't want to have to bring it up all the way up. I want it to look nice and simple, like so. So you see that it's hanging out down here. So I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to copy and paste this, like so. So this generally won't necessarily be available to see, but because it's for a Roblox cheer thing, or a cheer type thing, it makes it a little bit easier to handle and work with at this point in time. So you got like this little thing, which is right here, and then you're going to do the arm bit, which is also fairly easy actually. You can run this across the bottom. And I'm actually going to make it style 5 because that'll just give me a nice little base to work off of. And then I'm actually going to make it 11 because if you look here, there's a cuff on it. So, and then I'm going to lower it down again. And I'm thinking I want it to come up here for the most part. I want that to be like the level position. I'm going to lower that just slightly, and then I'm going to grab from here and drag down, but it doesn't come down a ridiculous amount. So what I do is I go here and I drag down as far as I want it to go. So about that far is good. And then I'm going to copy and paste over, just like I've been doing the entire time. That'll give you a nice little point. And then from here, I'm actually going to not fill in quite yet. I'm going to make little imprint almost type things so that it closes off the sides. And so from here you can just change your flood mode. Make sure, because I don't want anyone to freak out, make sure you change your flood mode back afterwards. And you can just fill it in. And it's generally that simple. I feel like sometimes we can make stuff look, as designers, we can make stuff seem a lot harder, but it's really not that hard. So that is pretty much all the general line art I had to do, because this was a fairly simple design to make. I'm going to, since it was just a line art tutorial, I'm generally just going to insert quick finishing off speed design type thing, because that is the easiest thing to do at this point. So let's cue that. Alrighty, I think that is pretty much going to conclude this specific video. If you are still watching, giving you guys a little treat, okay? Line curve tool. Set it to 1. Set this to dotted. Alright. I'm gonna make sure I'm on that layer. If you need to make sparkle lines such as this, all you gotta do is set it to the settings I told you to, and if you drag, it'll make like glittered lines. There's your tip if you're staying till the end of the video, and that is it. I really hope you liked this. That is all. Bye, guys.